Rocket emoji. And we're off.
And we're off. Good evening from Denmark, Europe, and I'm guessing New York, to and welcome to Bitcoin Treasuries World episode 4, where I have the pleasure that's right, of having my good friend here, Tim Kotzman, who very much is covering the same world as me, was speaking with smart people and CEOs, and and he has some big event coming up. I believe it's next week. So I said, Tim, come on my channel. Let's talk about it and give you a chance to tell people about it. And we're just started talking in the room, and it's fun. It's like, why don't we just go live? And because everything you start talking about there is something you want to share with people. Tim, I already said too much. You're my guest here. I'm glad to see you. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for having me. I love the MicroStrategy hat and I love the headphones, right? It's like a very cool look. What does it say underneath MicroStrategy? Does it say hydrate? It says Mondays. Okay.
Mondays.
Well, you
Yeah.
should always hydrate anyways, so it all works together, right? It's like that aqua blue. So it's like MicroStrategy Mondays, and you can also hydrate while you're talking about MicroStrategy,
Let me tell
now
you.
known as strategy.
I know. So let me tell you the story. This is actually one of a kind hat. I have a good friend in LA. He's a printer, and when I tell people that in Denmark, like, what do you mean he's a printer? Like he's a printer, like a Canon? No, like he prints stuff, with stuff on it,
Yeah.
textile, normal printing stuff, whatever. And and he made this for me. He doesn't watch every show, so he made this for me, and the company was called MicroStrategy, and then he came and gave it to me like a week after they had changed the name to Strategy, not knowing they had changed the name. So, but
Vintage.
it's already OG merch, which is cool. But we'll print some more and put them for sale, I think, because friends keep telling me they want one of these. But anyways, Tim, what else is going on? How you doing, man?
I'm good. It seems like when people at in Prague came up to me and they're like, "Hey, what's going on? You must like have the inside track because you're talking to everyone." And I'm like, I just had to admit to people, I'm feel like I'm barely keeping up, right? Like, so you're interviewing people, I'm interviewing people. Some like we're all reposting what everybody else is doing because like it's gonna take all of us. Like the digital conference next Tuesday is being sponsored by Bitcoin for Corporations, right? They're doing great work in the space. It's a partnership between Bitcoin Magazine and Strategy. And so they're helping out with, the messaging and strategy and, just we're all kind of like, all right, everybody get on the bus, everybody get on the boat. The rain is coming. So, yeah, no, the idea with after going to holy moly, New York Bitcoin Investor Conference, Orlando, Vegas, Prague. I know we have a few events coming up this fall. I was like, these are awesome in-person conferences, and there's so much going on that we're not going to be able to interview just due to either time restraints or probably more so availability. Like we're not going to get every single executive on the digital conference, but we're going to try to get a lot of them, right? And so I think that might just be a unique way, even if it's only like a 10 or 20-minute or 30-minute interview each, just 12 hours straight or 8 hours straight or however long it takes. It'll be hopefully like a way to kind of showcase everyone, but also have them all in one place. As much as we all enjoy scrolling X and seeing all these like interviews, I feel like sometimes you almost, Elon doesn't want me to say this, but sometimes you almost have to go to YouTube just to like get some kind of organization to the videos. So hopefully this will be a way to kind of catalog at least this one day in time as to what's going on in the Bitcoin treasury space.
Absolutely. It's funny. So, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and I said, Tim is coming on tonight, and I think we're definitely, we're very different, but at the same, I mean, look at you. I mean, you're looking good there with the suit, and I'm, you know what? I'm actually going to have to wear like a shirt and tie soon because the thing is, I feel when I do 3 shows a day, and I kind of feel like I got to take a new t-shirt on if it's a t-shirt, right? But if you're wearing a suit or tie, you can rock with that the whole time, right? You don't
Yeah.
need to. So,
Yeah.
so I might go full suit coiner. I'll join the ranks of being a little bit more professional,
I
allegedly.
mean, just try it out, see how it feels, right? To your point with the suit, right? You can have it on all day and it's all good but I mean, it's pretty hot and humid here in New York. So when I get home, it's like, all right, just like right into the shower. Right.
I will though, if this is the last show that I have this t-shirt on, I do want to give it just a a look. It's
Oh,
if, I don't know if you like Star Wars, but
love that.
Darth Vader and his stormtroopers are in the fun park and they're doing photos in the roller coaster, Tim. So I thought, you know,
I love that. I grew up in central Pennsylvania, so my, you know, as cool as I ever got was as a teenager. I had a season pass to Hershey Park, so my friend and I would go and just, think about business ideas and do whatever teenagers do, standing in line for all the roller coasters. So no, that's really fun.
that's funny. I never heard of Hershey World or whatever you called it. But what I wanted to say is that so despite obviously, we have different approaches, but you are the one I most sort of identify with in this space in terms of like what we are doing, right? Both you and I different angles and different whatever, but are both very excited and covering sort of the broad spectrum of backs, if we should call them that, big Bitcoin accumulating companies. So, and it's such a big world because I see what you're doing, and we're just talking in the green room before going live, and I'm like, wait, what? Like I didn't hear about them. Like that's how big this is, and I'm doing this like from when I wake up till like right now, it's 10:15 at night.
Wow.
And then after this show, I'll be an X for 1 hour, and then like this is all I do now, pretty much, right? Like, but there's so much happening, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the nicest compliments I've gotten recently was from a sponsor. Yes, the person on the screen, we talked in Vegas, and we are both from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, just south of Hershey, Harrisburg. And people know Hershey, if nothing else, right? If you've ever had, hopefully, or at least seen a Hershey chocolate bar. But yeah, lost my train of thought there. But yes, Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Maybe it was about a lot of things happening in the space.
Oh, yes,
Otherwise,
yes. What one of my sponsors said, Tim, you have the best depth of network in the space, which I didn't even know what that phrase meant until I put it into Chat GBT. But I I thought to myself, that's really funny because as these announcements come out, I just like go and like start following the account, and then they say thanks for the follow, and then you start a conversation, right? And I invite them on the podcast, but it's like it's not like I'm having 3 hour meetings with all these people, but I'm just trying to actually almost keep up with, whatever's actually being announced. And yeah, it's like it's not that big of a space. I think I joked around in Prague. It's like you have strategy, you have Semler, and then like a lot of these other ones are like projects from UTXO, and they're not all of them are, but it's like, yeah, if you think it's the top of the market and it's saturated and it's a big bubble, just go talk to anyone on the street in New York and be like, hey, what do you think about Bitcoin? They'll be like, is that still a thing? And even if they know what Bitcoin is, like they won't know what strategy is, they won't know what MicroStrategy is. It's just unbelievable how early we are. So it's pretty cool.
it's unbelievable. Like we can talk with our friends, we can go to a Bitcoin conference, and we feel it's a thing happening in society. You talk to anyone else you meet on the street, they may have heard about Bitcoin. 9 out of 10, they have no exposure to Bitcoin. Comes to something like Bitcoin treasury companies, forget about it. Like it's so freaking early. It's not even funny, except it is funny because Tim, I'm glad we're here now and not 15 years from now. So um, actually, when I think about it, I guess when I look at your work, which is first of all like just super professional, and you speak to so many people and come very wide. I guess I'm thinking that you are on top of a lot of things that are happening, speaking to a lot of CEOs and catching trends. Where I guess my own approach is very much I'm coming at it as an investor wanting to invest. So I'm trying to figure out, hey, what's your key numbers? Why is your growth this low? Why is it this high? Like kind of like I need to find that's the content I'm putting out is my process of trying to find out, okay, where am I going to put my money? But do you invest also in treasury companies more than strategy or
Yeah, I mean, certainly have a strategy position. I have a meta planet position, and then someone in the office today said, "Hey, do you have a position in one of the newer ones?" I'll just leave it at that. I'm like, I had to think. I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I haven't even had time to kind of think. Like, so yeah, it's like I like to make small bets when I remember to actually buy something, but it's just like to the point now where it's like, I'm okay. I mean, I shouldn't say that, right? I mean, I think in the same way that I felt like I was late to strategy, maybe it was a few weeks ago when I bought some Metaplanet, but I'm not trying to like catch this little jolt. I'm just like, I have it. I'm happy I have it, and it's going to sit there, and I'm going to forget about it, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So just a little bit of a zoomed out view, um, which you know, different time horizons, different risk profiles, right? I had lunch with a gentleman today that likes to keep a low profile, but very prominent in the community, and he's like, "Yeah, I have a position in whatever." Podcast I put out earlier today. I think Coincilium and Forza. And I'm like, yeah, great. He's like, yep. And I'll have it for 10 years and I'll look back and it'll either be zero, it'll be hundreds of X up or whatever it's going to be. So not financial advice, but yeah, that's,
was that you or him having investment in Concilium, you said?
that was him. That was
That
him
was the
having
dude. Okay.
a position. Yeah, I was a couple minutes late to lunch. And he's like, oh, I was just sitting here watching the Forza podcast. So
So
kind of funny.
if if anyone is interested in learning more about Concilium, then 6 days ago I had the CEO Eddie Travier and then their advisor James Van Straten on my YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about Concilium, personally, I don't have exposure there. Tim, there's something I realized over those last couple of days or week or whatever, and I want to ask you a question.
Yep.
So but before I say that, because a lot of respect to strategy, of course, right? That's why we're all here. That's why all these people get all these opportunities thanks to Sailor and strategy. And I personally believe, and I put out content on that, that I think the second half of the year is going to be phenomenal for strategy because of likely S&P 500. First, why don't I just hear your opinion on potential S&P 500? What could happen with strategy this year? How do you see that play out in the preferred stocks? And then I'll go back to that other question. I'd rather hear your opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of when um, we spent a few minutes with Sailor at his house on New Year's Eve, and one of the True North guys was like, basically said, were you thinking that you had a good shot at the NASDAQ 100? And Sailor's response was kind of like, we weren't counting on it. And so I would think, based on that one data point, right, they're not counting on it. It's not within their control. So someone posted and then deleted yesterday. I'm going to get in trouble for this, but that like strategy's not hitting the ATM as hard as they could because they want other companies to get over 100,000 Bitcoin. And I commented, and I'm like, a parent does not let their kids win on purpose. And they like deleted the post. It was pretty funny, but and
Oh,
we're all friends here. We're not going to name names, but um, so yeah, I mean, I just think, I mean, we could go on for hours about this. Obviously, between the common stock, the other preferred ATMs, um, there's a lot of runway with or without. And I mean, I didn't even have it on my bingo card. I won't speak for Jeff or Ben or anybody else, but I mean, no one that I saw in the past few weeks was talking about the something something 200 value something index that they got into yesterday. Um, And so it's like it's a smaller index. It's a top 200 index, but you have all these different indexes. Like, oh, that's only a few $1 billion, right? That's like how much capital we're talking about here. Well, it's just a percentage of that. So I think it's like that's the trend is that whether it's a month or two or three from now, or whether it's 6 months from now, 12 months from now, like they are going to be in all these indexes, and like they might be at 700,000, 800,000, 900,000, a million Bitcoin by the time that happens. And like, I just go back to what Lynn Alden says, like nothing's going to stop this train. Nothing stops strategy. And yeah, it's going to be super interesting to see how all the rest of this goes. Some people are more colorful than others when like talking about their Bitcoin treasury company. And for me, like when people are fudding online, or when people like kind of treating these Bitcoin treasury companies like altcoins online, like you can get annoyed or dismayed or whatever. But don't forget about Camp Nakamoto, October 10th through the 13th, with Larry Lepard, James Lavish, Natalie Brunell, Mark Moss, Joe Consorti. I was going to say Kawasari. Maybe he'll be there too. Just kidding. Joe Consorti, Michelle Weekly, Tim Kotzman, campnakamoto.com, discount code Anders10, Anders10. Is that right?
Wait, you got it. It's because that's what it
Okay.
says. Well, see look who's the first name though. Look at the first name right
Oh,
there.
October 10th through the 13th with Tim Kotzman, Larry Lepard, James Lavish, Natalie Brunell,
Yeah,
Mark Moss.
no, I just wanted to make sure that you didn't think that you would have to mention your name afterwards. Like that was Tim Kotzman right there.
I
First one.
appreciate it. It's very funny.
And so Jeff was previously watching. He was in the chat. Let me just throw his comment up there. I don't know if he's still watching, but thank you for that, Jeff. And Jeff is very interested in strategy and the backspace Bitcoin accumulating companies, and he has both of us coming to Camp Nakamoto, which is going to be, I think, about 100 people only. And at least 10 of these people will be people that you're familiar faces with that, produce a lot of great content. Like, for instance, that guy right there, Tim Kotzman. And he also wants us to do some back content there, which is going to be um, a lot of fun. I mean, it is the fastest growing area within Bitcoin and TradFi. It's like one of those Venn diagrams: TradFi, Bitcoin, fastest growing
Yep.
area. Right here is back. But I want to get back to my question actually. That
CampNakamoto.com. I just want to say on a very like not jealous, what's the word? Personal note, on a selfish note, that's the word.
Okay.
I'm just looking forward to going to Camp Nakamoto, putting my phone down and going outside. Like that sounds pretty fun to me. Back to you.
Thank you, Tim. And what I would like to say is that when I go to campnakamoto.com October 10 to 13, I will touch grass with other
Yeah.
Bitcoiners, and it's going to
Yeah.
be great. Um,
Absolutely.
we, um,
Now that
but
I've
what
really
a
thrown you off.
no, no, I mean, I guess you might be able to, but the thing with me, Tim, and it's a challenge I'm working with. I very easily think of something to say, and then I start talking. So it may not be what I originally intended, but I'd hardly ever stop.
You keep the party going. You keep the party going.
I try. Thank you. No, but so before I wanted to ask you the question, then I did want to cover what we just did cover, which was big shout out to strategy, and I do have big expectations for strategy in the second half of this year. I'm looking forward to potential S&P 500 inclusion, which will increase their credit rating. It's going to increase the credit worthiness of the three preferred stocks, Stride, Strike, and Strive. Um, and they might also get a credit rating themselves, which is going to be the real giant unlock. Um, and I've said this earlier that I could easily see if these things happen in Q4 that we are in a situation where strategy ATMs $10 billion worth of preferred stocks and at current Bitcoin prices buy about 100,000 Bitcoin per week. Like that's actually something that can happen. Except at that time the price of Bitcoin will be 200,000. So that's maybe not happening. But people shouldn't think that because the ATM is small on these right now, that it can't go parabolic because it's a $300 trillion market that they're targeting and that they now have the best product for. So, saying all of that credit and respect to strategy, my question to you, Tim, is can you mention one high BTC yielding Bitcoin treasury company in United States right now? Because that's where the most are. But which one is running at a hot engine here?
I think I'd have to go to strategytracker.com where I'd use code KOTZ to get my first month of premium 100% free. Also, I have no idea without actually looking at the data. But to your point, yeah, there's more and more popping up in the US, and you're like, what is the differentiator? What is the MNAV, and where is it going? Whereas, you know, you can make the case for it being further out on the risk curve. One of the calls I had this morning, the guy said, "Look, like everything sounds good, great with MetaPlanet, but like I don't know how the Japanese market really works, right?" And it's just trying to like really be honest with yourself about like what don't I know, like what could change with these arbitrage opportunities that are here today, gone tomorrow, perhaps. And I'm not trying to FUD MetaPlanet at all, right? I've got a bag, but um yeah, just like the international markets, we may not be familiar with them, but if there is some sort of, if there are no ETFs, if there is no like exchange besides local exchanges or Binance, and maybe there is, quite a lot of opportunity there. Um, so yeah, I mean, I check out bitcointreasuries.net and strategytracker.com. I don't know if there's any other websites or resources that you kind of jump onto on a regular basis, but those are the two that pop out in my mind.
So I do use strategy tracker, but because there's discrepancies between that and the company their themselves their website, I am kind of choosing to believe that probably the company itself should be able to put out the most updated correct number. So for
Yep.
that reason, I'm looking at strategy.com. For MetaPlanet, I'm looking at metaplanet.jp, which, by the way, Tim, I believe it's the first Japanese website I've ever been on. I don't think ever I typed .jp before. I don't know. What about you? You've been
Yeah,
on Japanese websites?
I had not typed JP before. Absolutely not.
Okay,
I would.
so
I feel like I'd remember something as consequential as that, right?
it's
dot com a million times and then dot JP. Yeah, definitely not.
right. And also for SWC, which I have bought into as of, I think, well, the week in Prague, actually. I think it was the Monday of the week in Prague or the Tuesday. I think it was the Monday or the Tuesday. It doesn't matter. Anyways, a few weeks ago, less than 3 weeks ago. For them, they have a community member, basically an investor who is at Bitcoin B21 on X. And that website is called the smarterinvestmentguy.com, where there's a lot of really essentially all these key figures for SWC because they don't put them out themselves yet on their own website. So I'm, trusting that it's the only thing there is, which also shows Tim how early it is, how
Hmm.
we're trying to figure out which website to look at to get the right numbers, and the numbers are different. It's like, you know, it's early. It's Wild West early, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. And I was on a call today where I learned, and these are not exact numbers, but it makes sense to me, and it's from a trustworthy source. 40% of the investors in these Bitcoin treasury companies are retail. 60% is institutional. So how important is it to be able to message to the retail investors and to the institutional investors. And yeah, I mean, just those facts alone right there, it's kind of, and obviously retail is kind of way ahead of where most institutions are, but it only takes a couple institutions with a big a big suitcase to make a big difference. So the question you put up about MSTR's prefs and the remarks about the positive feedback loop with quarter end reinvestments, I mean, if you're like reinvesting your dividends, right, that's more capital coming back into the market. I so I think it's good to note it. Um, and those guys are more down the rabbit hole than I am on that sort of thing. But kind of like zooming out, I just think of like the big pools of capital, like how enormous, right? When you look at the pie chart or the block chart from Jesse Myers about all the capital in the world. I mean, they're just tapping into all these markets, and whether somebody is choosing or everybody's choosing to reinvest or not, I mean, it's just if you get right, Sailor wants 1% of the fixed income market, and forgive me if my numbers are off today with a little bit of sleep deprivation. Like that's like a trillion or $3 trillion. I mean, it's just like the numbers are right. Yeah, just come on into Bitcoin. The water's fine. Yeah, totally
Well,
good. Like, come on
totally
in.
good.
I got my like what like if we get $3 trillion, Anders will wear an orange tie, right? It's fine, right?
Um, I promise to put a tie on soon. I promise. I'll put on a shirt because, as we spoke about initially, it'll make it a lot easier instead of changing shirt 3 times to just have a different T-shirt for each. But you know what, Tim? So we're having fun here, and that's great. It's so important to have a good time, and we are, and that's good, and that's positive, and it's also good for health. But I looked at the time and realized we have 14 minutes left, and I brought you here today to tell the world about Bitcoin Treasuries digital conference. Did I get it right?
Bingo bongo. You got it.
Did I get a ticket now?
Yeah. I
Okay.
it's they're free. So yeah. Totally wild, right? We're gonna
So
live
tell,
stream. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, sorry. Like so because I
I jumped
kind
the
of don't
gun.
want to
Okay,
interrupt you. No, 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 no,
let's
no,
let's
no,
let's
no,
let's redo
absolutely.
it. Let's redo it. Go ahead.
Can you just give us like a real quick, because like there's enough people here to sue. So can you just like say that, give it the financial disclaimer just real quick so we're off the hook in case anyone actually listens to what a guy in a cap and a guy with a suit says about financial instruments and investments and stuff. The financial disclaimer, Tim,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
famous for this.
yeah. I'm trying to remember all of it. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to hear may be amazing, but it's not financial advice. It's for entertainment and informational purposes only. Anders, back to you.
Thank you, Tim. And on that note, I need you to tell me and the 541 live viewers what is going on with the Bitcoin Treasuries Digital Conference because you're putting this together because it's an exciting space. There's so much happening. Everybody wants to get educated more. Um, and now you're doing something about it. So tell the people what's going on here? What are you doing? What are you up to, Tim? What's the low low?
All right. Do you want the actual behind the scenes?
Whatever you want. This is your time to
As long
shine.
as I can fit it within 12 minutes.
You got 12 minutes. I mean, if it depends how far if you go very far, I may have to like just take you off camera, but otherwise the floor is yours.
Okay.
I'm joking. You good.
So it was a few weeks ago. I literally woke up at 3 something in the morning and I thought, I'm going to just do a digital conference. I mean, it's a live stream, but when you call it a conference, people get really excited. So it is conference. It is a conference, right? Um, and so I posted about it on X. People got really excited. And I was like, well, now we got to do this thing. So I reached out to some of the executives and was really, really lucky to have Andrew Kang, the CFO of Strategy, Eric Semler, Dylan LeClaire, Matt Cole, and Andrew Webley, like we could go down the list. A lot of the executives agree to, come on for 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes and share, the latest and greatest of what they're doing. Um, I think between yourself, myself, and lots of other people, right, we kind of get that 30 to 60-second take on their background. I at least love to hear about their background, their story to their journey to Bitcoin, all of that. So I think this will be more of like a fireside chat, but like more of a where are we right now, and like what are you most excited about? And instead of having to bookmark 70 different things and try to compile everything on a website that no one's ever heard of, it'll be right there. So it's going to be live streamed on X, live streamed on YouTube. I'm still waiting to hear back. It may be simulcast on some channels that are very popular, that you may already be following, that may give us millions and millions of viewers. So stay
I'm
tuned for
thinking, I'm thinking True North here. Just putting it out there.
that. Not well, that's up to Jeff, but not True North, but other
Okay.
Bitcoin related channels that would really increase the distribution. So that's exciting. Um, the presenting sponsor is going to be Bitcoin for Corporations, which is the partnership between Strategy and Bitcoin Magazine. So, hats off to them, and it kind of underscores just how early we are. Not that we're all going to be fighting like dogs and cats a couple of years from now, but like it's so early that when I was up on stage, like not presenting, but just like talking with people after the corporate day in Prague, one of the executives was up there and saying, "Oh, we'd love to um, be involved with your digital conference." And Alan Helm from Bitcoin Corporations was standing there, and he goes, "Oh yeah, let us know what we can do to support you." And it was like, "What?" So, the yeah, I think right, it's live streamed. I like live streamed because like I like stuff that's polished and edited as well. But I think there's some magic to the live stream. I think there's some magic to having 20 some guests all within an 8 to 12 hour window. And then of course, right? I mean, I'm doing it on Restream. So as soon as the live part's over, it'll just click over to replay and people can watch it forever unless, something drastically changes with X and YouTube. So I think that'll be really interesting, and kind of underscores what we've been hearing for a while now, right? That True North and Strategy and all these, um, everyone's been saying it's the digital transformation of investor relations. It's kind of like the digital transformation of everything. And at the risk of saying what I said towards the beginning of this live stream, it's there's a lot of great physical conferences out there. And I just thought, what can I do that's a little bit different, right? Kind of back to what Sailor says, we want to do what you can't do, right? We don't want to do what you can do. We don't want to compete with you. We want to be this solid foundation and be a base to grow the ecosystem. So yeah, it just kind of had me thinking, what can I do to contribute to the ecosystem? That's not like having another conference right across the street from some other guy at the same time he's having a conference. Just have it digital, have it something that people can, you know, if for some reason somebody's working 12 hours straight that day and they can have it on, great. Of course, most people listen to it later, but um, I think the when you just collapse everything into the iPhone, you collapse everything into X, and it's only digital. Um, yeah, I mean, I've participated in at least one digital only conference before. I think they cut it up by section, right? So like each panel was like a separate YouTube video. So I'll be intrigued to see what happens when we do this, and it's only digital. Um, I think, yeah,
And
I'm
you know
I'm
what else, Tim?
I'm very optimistic. Like the Natalie brought it up when the True North guys we were on her show maybe a week ago. she said when you guys were up on stage with Sailor and Fong, right? It was kind of the last session of the day, and Bitcoin for Corporations, Bitcoin Magazine had been streaming that for several hours. I don't know if it was 6, 7, 8 hours straight. There were like 200,000 people on the live stream, which I didn't know. I was like, okay, that's a lot of people. So yeah, I just think it could be powerful to just have it streaming out live, and we're so early that we're all in the same boat. So yeah, that's kind of the idea, and yeah, really looking forward to it.
Tim, the world needs a Tim Kotzman digital conference. So um, good, and it's soon. And for the people who just joined, it's free to attend. So yeah,
There's no
this is a
hotel
no-brainer.
room. Yeah, you don't have to
No,
pay for a hotel, food. I mean, you can eat at home. You can stay in your basement. You can stay in your. You can hang out at the pool. You just have your AirPods in. Yeah, no hotel to pay for, no flights, no ticket to buy. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like pretty low risk.
you can roll your TV, your big inch, like 80-inch TV, out in front of the pool. You can be on like an air mattress in the pool with your cold beer, which is going to cost nothing more than the Costco price of beer if you go there and shop, and it's cheaper. And then you can watch it on your 80-inch TV while you're lying in the pool and chilling. I mean, how better to consume a conference there? Um, Tim, so I this is next week. You say it's July 8th, right?
Yep.
So people can watch it on your X account. They can go to Tim Kotzman on YouTube, or is it Bitcoin Treasuries podcast? Or
It is. I have the link to my YouTube in my X profile headline. So, yep.
okay, so
I
go
would just,
to
yeah, I would just say, I would think most people are just going to tune in on X. But yeah, it'll be on my personal YouTube channel as well.
cool. Really, really awesome. And also, so just quick shout out here to KH, which was on my Metaplanet Roundtable episode 5, which ended like 7 minutes before we started. Oh,
Oh, okay.
and very nice comment there, KH. And the world also appreciates what you do, and that's why you also being put on shows, KH, because the world needs to hear your input. Tim, that's amazing. And then you got the companies sponsoring you and helping you out all this time you're investing it, making it possible to do. So what are the how are the sponsors getting since they don't have a booth at a physical conference? What are they getting out of the exposure? How are they getting some value?
So right before we started this live stream, I was actually in the studio recording ad reads. So um, I'll be playing the ad reads at the beginning of the conference, during some of the intermissions, and at the end of the conference. And we'll have a couple of special things we're going to do for some of the sponsors as well, some surprises. But yeah, try to be a little bit organized as far as, right. I can just kind of press play on a video, and all of the announcements kind of happen, and then I don't have to like physically in real time be doing like ad reads and interviewing. So I think that's how that's gonna work.
So that's super cool and makes sense. I know you gotta jump like in 5 minutes maximum,
Sure.
but I want to help you give value to your sponsors. So if you want to mention like all your sponsors or whatever you find is relevant, whoever is supporting you, feel free to give them some airtime now. I'm just here hanging out with my friend Tim.
I super appreciate that. Yeah, Bitcoin for Corporations, Arch Lending, Stamp Seed, um, and many, many, many more. Uh, they're going to get plenty of exposure. I think what I'm really excited about, and I apologize for the sirens you could probably hear in the background, it's just New York City. It's New York City, baby. um,
The city that never
is
sleeps.
I mean, it's wild. It is wild. I can tell you stories, but they're not fit for air. Just New York stuff. Um, I've done. I think late last night. If you go back through the last half a day of tweets, I announced maybe like through the morning the speakers. And what I'm one of the things I'm most excited about is that we have um, someone from Marsh, which is a company that most people have probably never even heard of. They're big in insurance, coming to talk about insurance and how to think about stuff with underwriting. We have two of the like partners of uh, the tax side of digital assets from Deloitte doing a fireside chat. So like you and there's some speakers that aren't going to be here that were in Orlando or wherever, right? But I think we'll because I've been super lucky to get a couple of these connections and they're willing to be speakers to really even just lean in like one more degree into like the really corporate like capital market side of everything. So I hope that'll be like a unique thing that we bring to the table.
No, it's sounds really good, and I'm really happy for you. I think it's awesome you're doing this, and we can't get enough education out there, and I'm glad that you're helping connect the people actually getting things done in these companies and sharing their stories, and there's going to be a lot of knowledge sharing there. So uh, I wonder what KH means with this Marsh ticker MMC cool get. Oh, so that must be, do you know what KH is Christina is referring to? Was that something you said?
My guess is that Marsh is publicly traded, but I'm so new to all of this, I couldn't even tell you that.
Ah, you're right. I think that's gotta be, they got that as a ticker, of course. All right, so we have a little bit. Um, I just wanna, before we run, just share for people who are interested in this kind of content. I want to mention that tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central European Time, which is 5 p.m. UK time, and it's noon Eastern Time. I have the CEO of Smarter Web Company on. His name is Andrew Webley, super cool, down to earth guy, very transparent. Um, and that is a show that is now being called Smarter Webley Wednesdays. That's episode 4. Right now, here you can see there's a phenomenal show going on that is with Tim and I. And then on Thursday, I have the CEO of the blockchain group with the ticker ALTPG. He's coming on Thursday. Alexander Lassay from France, which is um, the largest Bitcoin accumulating company in Europe with around 1700 Bitcoin, I believe. So there you have it. But next week I'll be in Summerhouse, Tim. So I will have to watch your conference on playback. Looking forward to it. Is there anything you want to share? The floor is yours here. You got maybe 2 more minutes before I know you have to run. The floor is yours, Tim.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, Anders. If anyone has suggestions on speakers, sponsors, Q&A, things that they really want to know. I know people on X are not shy, but don't be shy, right? Ask and you shall maybe receive. And yeah, right. Maybe that's what we should be saying. Ask and maybe you shall receive. I mean, God, but well, that's for another time. So God is good all the time. Andrews, thanks for having me. I'm going to sign off before I say something I shouldn't.
You got it. No, I wanted to say something to add on that, but I know you do have to run. What was that?
I don't think there's a true north this week, but
Hmm.
the hurdle rate is out
Oh,
today. And
so
thank you, Sailor, for retweeting it. I was still trying to upload it to Rumble, and it's like not even 6 a.m. New York. And I'm in my apartment, and I look down at my phone, and it says, and I just uploaded, right? So it was like 200 views, 300 views, 500 views, and like I look down like a minute later, it's like 5.6K views. I'm like, am I still sleeping? How is this even happening? I'm like, oh, Sailor retweeted it. I'm like, I thought I was going insane.
well, it's what like
Yeah,
same but different. Anyway,
yeah.
so I remember what it was. You said the word speaker, and I wanted to share with you that. So my focus now, as you've maybe noticed, is really looking at all these backs on how to invest, which numbers to look at, where to place the money, what's the risk, what's the downside, what's the upside, all of that. I'm all into that at the moment, and I just got this week a keynote for the first ever Nordic Bitcoin conference, which is BTC Hell, which is going to be in Helsinki in middle of August. So I'll do a keynote there on Bitcoin investing. I know you got to go. Thank you so much for being here, Tim. Good luck, and